I'm Ankita Robin and welcome to SG Global News. From a moving account where two women forgave the killers of their loved ones to the heartwarming story of the mother of newly canonized Saint Carlo Acutis reaching out to an 8-year-old altar server in Michigan, we have many stories to cover. At the Jubilee of Consolation in Rome, thousands of pilgrims gathered for a powerful vigil of prayer and testimony. Among the speakers were two women whose lives were forever marked by acts of violence and loss. Their words of faith and forgiveness left the crowd deeply moved, offering a striking witness to the power of mercy. The mother of an American journalist killed by ISIS and the wife of a security guard murdered by a mob of young men in Naples spoke at the prayer vigil during the Jubilee of Consolation on Monday, September 15th. Diane Foley, 76, is the mother of James Foley, an American freelance war correspondent during the Syrian civil war. He was killed in August 2014. He was one of several Western hostages murdered by ISIS. Indeed, he was beheaded in public. Lucia Di Mauro Montanino lost her husband, Gaetano Montanino, who was a security guard, in a shooting in Naples Piazza Mercato on August 4, 2009. The two women showed remarkable forgiveness toward the perpetrators of these grievous tragedies and were invited by the Vatican to share their testimonies. Nearly 9,000 pilgrims were present when they recounted their stories. Diane Foley described meetings she requested with Alexander Cote, one of the jihadists responsible for her son's kidnapping, torture, and beheading. Ms. Foley said Cote expressed much remorse during the meetings and she felt she was given the grace to forgive him. Quote, "God gave me the grace to see him as a fellow sinner in need of mercy, like me," end quote, she told the audience. Similarly, Lucia Di Mauro Montanino spoke about her encounter with Antonio, the youngest of the convicted group in her husband's murder case. Antonio, then aged 17, was sentenced to 22 years in prison. A few years into his sentence, he asked to meet Ms. Di Mauro and asked for her forgiveness. While he was released 14 years early under supervision, Ms. Di Mauro accompanied him and his family to help them rebuild their lives. In his address to pilgrims at the vigil, Pope Leo XIV emphasized the power of forgiveness and the danger of allowing pain to give rise to violence. He said violence never has the final say. It is overcome by a love that knows how to forgive. The Pope also gifted the participants the Agnus Dei, a small blessed wax icon featuring the Paschal lamp, a symbol of the victory of good over evil and of the mystery of Jesus' death and resurrection. A leading US bishop has released a new document addressing one of today's most pressing cultural debates. The text speaks directly to the challenges faced by young people and those entrusted with their pastoral care. It also sets out a clear response rooted in Catholic teaching and the hope found in Christ. Here's a report on the document, "The Body Reveals the Person," by Bishop Daniel E. Thomas. Bishop Daniel E. Thomas of the Diocese of Toledo, who is also chair of the Pro-Life Activities Committee of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, has issued a document that categorically rejects gender ideology and reaffirms the Catholic Church's teaching on the inherent dignity and goodness of the human person. The document, titled "The Body Reveals the Person, a Catholic Response to the Challenges of Gender Ideology," was originally meant for internal circulation in the diocese to assist those in pastoral roles. Nevertheless, it has quickly gained wide attention for its concise but vigorous response to what is portrayed as prevailing gender confusion in our society. From the beginning, the bishop affirms that the Church loves all her children wholeheartedly and offers them words of comfort in order to alleviate their burdens. He then outlines the dangers of gender ideology, noting that it has deeply permeated the culture. He observes that people, especially vulnerable teenagers, are susceptible to these messages, which are intensified through social media. The bishop cites a recent study by the Centers for Disease Control, which states that 1 in 4 American teens self-identify as LGBTQ, an exponential increase over previous year's statistics. Bishop Thomas emphatically states that gender ideology is radically at odds with Christian anthropology. He acknowledges, however, that arguments alone seldom move people who are suffering. He warns that watering down the Church's teachings would be a grave disservice to all the faithful and especially to those who struggle with gender confusion, because he says today's noxious ideologies make such persons especially vulnerable to grave and irreversible harm. He affirms that the answer to this seemingly unsolvable dilemma lies only in the gospel, urging everyone to communicate the love of Jesus Christ to those who are in pain. He adds, quote, they need to experience that message as personal and through it have an encounter with the Lord himself, end quote. Bishop Thomas argues that an active relationship with Jesus can bring hope into our lives, even amidst confusion, weakness, frustration, discouragement, disappointment, and the sinfulness inherent to the human condition. At the close of his document, he addresses those who suffer from gender dysphoria, expressing the love that the Church and he personally have for them. He invites them to strengthen themselves through prayer, frequent reception of the sacraments, and Christian fellowship. Concluding with a message of hope, he writes, quote, remember that in our Father's house, which awaits those who bear their crosses faithfully, all suffering shall cease, all confusion shall be dispelled, and every good desire shall be fulfilled. Facing your sufferings with faith will lead you to greater holiness and virtue, end quote. The US bishops are drawing new attention to the growing mental health crisis with a nationwide effort. Their latest initiative seeks to engage Catholics more deeply at the parish and community level. It also introduces new ways to bring prayer, dialogue, and awareness into the life of the Church.
Amid a continuing mental health crisis, American bishops have launched a new initiative to promote mental health at the parish level. In September 16 press release, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops announced its Healing and Hope initiative as a new component of the USCCB's ongoing national Catholic mental health campaign that was unveiled in October 2023. Healing and Hope will feature 3 new elements that will amplify Catholic engagement on mental health. A revitalized digital campaign has been planned for a deeper conversation on the realities and stigmas of mental health. State conferences will be organized to gather people for dialogue on local mental health realities. A Mental Health Sunday will also be celebrated on the weekend of October 11 to 12 to specifically pray for those who struggle with mental health issues. The bishops have encouraged the faithful to pray the novena for mental health from October 10 to October 18, beginning on World Mental Health Day and concluding on the feast of Saint Luke, the physician, the patron of healthcare. This 9-day prayer experience was developed in collaboration with the National Catholic Mental Health Coalition.
Catholicos Karakin II, head of the Armenian Apostolic Church, met Pope Leo XIV for the first time on Tuesday at Castel Gandolfo. Their cordial talks focused on church relations and the situation of Armenians in Artsakh. The Catholicos invited the Pope to visit Armenia, emphasizing peace based on justice, while continuing the tradition of close ties with the Vatican.
Catholicos Karakin II, leader of the Armenian Apostolic Church, held talks with Pope Leo XIV on Tuesday morning at Castel Gandolfo in their first ever meeting. The audience was noted as warm and fraternal, touching on church relations and the plight of Armenians in Artsakh. He extended an invitation to the Pope to visit the country, highlighting the need for peace rooted in justice. Later, accompanied by his delegation, the Catholicos visited the Vatican and met Cardinals Kurt Koch and Jose Tolentino de Mendonca. The group prayed at St. Mary Major, where Karakin paid tribute at Pope Francis's tomb and reflected before the Salus Populi Romani icon. The audience carried forward the tradition of close ties between the Armenian Church and the Vatican. On his first trip to Rome in 2000, Karakin signed a joint declaration with St. John Paul II, who subsequently gifted relics of St. Gregory the Illuminator and visited Armenia. In 2008, he participated in an ecumenical celebration with Pope Benedict XVI, and in 2015, he joined Pope Francis at a Mass for Armenian martyrs, during which St. Gregory of Narek was declared a Doctor of the Church. Over time, Karakin and Pope Francis met repeatedly, often underscoring the call for peace in the Caucasus.
A heartbreaking road accident late on Monday night in the Mwanza Archdiocese of Tanzania has claimed the lives of 4 Catholic nuns and their driver. Members of the Missionary Sisters of St. Teresa of the Child Jesus, including their Superior General, were reportedly traveling to Mwanza Airport when their vehicle collided with a lorry. Church leaders have expressed deep grief over the heavy loss.
A tragic road accident late Monday night, September 15, in Mwanza, Tanzania, claimed the lives of 4 members of the Missionary Sisters of St. Teresa of the Child Jesus and their driver. According to ACI Africa News, their vehicle collided with a lorry near Kaluluma, Bukumbi area. The victims included Sister Lillian Kapongo, Superior General of MCSD, Sister Narina, Secretary General, Sister Damaris Mateka, Sister Stella Maris, and driver Boniface Msonla. They were headed to Mwanza Airport for a flight to Dar es Salaam after attending a perpetual profession ceremony in Kahama Diocese. Archbishop Renatus Leonard Nkwandi of Mwanza expressed grief over the deaths, noting that the deceased had been serving at Bukumbi Girls Secondary School. The local diocese confirmed that one of the sisters survived and was admitted to Bugando Hospital in critical condition, urging prayers for her recovery. Church leaders in Kahama described the accident as a significant loss not only for the Carmelite order but for the entire people of God. Speaking to Vatican News, Archbishop Jude Thaddeus Ruwaichi of Dar es Salaam urged the faithful to pray for those who died and for the recovery of the sole survivor. Funeral and memorial arrangements will be announced later by the congregation.
A young altar server in Michigan facing a battle with leukemia recently received an unexpected source of encouragement. The family's request for prayers reached all the way to Italy, drawing the attention of the mother of a newly canonized saint. Her heartfelt message left the boy's family deeply moved and strengthened in faith.
An 80-year-old altar server in Michigan battling leukemia received a message of encouragement from the mother of Saint Carlo Acutis. According to Detroit Catholic, young Isaac Rosnowski of St. Joseph Parish in Erie was diagnosed with leukemia on July the 18th, and the devastated family sent out prayer requests to their friends and relatives. Through a friend's friend, the request reached Antonia Salzano, who resides in Milan, Italy. Isaac's family was surprised when one day they received a voicemail from Antonia promising him prayers and encouraging him to pray the rosary and attend Mass. She said that leukemia was curable most of the time, adding that the kind of cancer Carlo had no cure back in 2006. She motivated the young boy to offer his suffering through the Immaculate Heart of Mary for the conversion of sinners and his own sanctification. Isaac's mother was overcome with emotion upon knowing that the newest saint's mother was praying for her son's healing. The family had been taking their son to many specialists for an illness that started last December, and after nearly 6 months, the cancer was diagnosed. Although Isaac is in remission now, he is continuing chemotherapy. Carlo Acutis, canonized on September the 7th, 2025, had a deep devotion to the Eucharist and used his passion for computer programming to catalog all Eucharistic miracles around the world. He passed away in 2006 at the age of 15 due to leukemia.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.